Okay. I apologize. This is so immature of me. But freaking hell. Not gonna lie. This is the exact reaction during the middle of Knuckles. What a way to return to make a vlog about a TV series or stream series, whatever it is. It's been a while since I did that. Because I think I kind of discarded the whole thing, mostly many reasons. Because sometimes I get lazy, sometimes I get kind of discouraged because TV programming are not exactly as it used to be right now. But then came this show. Some friends were talking about it. I was kind of skeptical. I even was kind of like wanting to miss it because I don't technically care about the Paramount streaming services. But of course, I had to do that because, well, as someone who likes Sonic, and I was kind of a little bit on the edge on, the Sonic movies. But then, this happens. And you know what? I've been warning you. I've been warning you since Sonic 2. Get rid of James Marsden. But no, you're not listening. So you know what? Because you gave me that bullshit, let's put this. Make this a trend. Hashtag get rid of James Marsden. I've been warning you people. I've been warning you. Warning you that the human aspect of those movies suck. They're awful. James Marsden suck. I could tolerate it in the first movie, but then, of course, he had to bring his Media Club. And then they think that this is the thing that we like about it, but no. And then we got this piece of shit named Knuckles. And god damn it. This is gonna be one of those angry rants. And by the way, like my usual TV rants, this is not gonna be one of those where I go into every single episode and telling what, a summarize about that. No. Because that doesn't deserve kind of like an extra effort from me. On the other hand, I made this. I made this list in which I'm gonna give you my share of the whole series of all the notes that I have been given to this piece of shit of a work. Because here's the thing. Like I said, I began to watch this show mostly because some peers, they just wanted to talk about it. And in order to have kind of like a more concrete opinion, I watch it. But I never expected to see so long, so low. This is worse than Sonic 2006. This is worse than Sonic the Rise of Lyric. This is worse than Sonic Boom. Oh yes, I went there. I don't care if people like Sonic Boom, the TV series, but no, Sonic Boom TV series wasn't that good as many people think. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. This show made me. This is worse than Chris Thorndike from Sonic X. And I've been warning you people. Warning you that I smell it. I smell it ever since I saw James Marsden. I smell it with his, how could I say, his Media Club, his rom-com. That the people there, obviously, they lost touch. We thought that they care about the Sonic franchise, but they don't. They don't. Instead, they made this, which was a total excuse to make a horrible childish sitcom of unfunny people acting like man-child, insulting the audience intelligence. to the point that the whole Sonic thing is much of an afterthought. And you know what? I even struggle to call it the Knuckles, the series, because it's not even that series of Knuckles. It was the Wade Whipple show. Because this is the guy who we root for our Knuckles series. No, this guy, Wade, was the one that took over that goddamn show. And who the hell is Wade? Well, he's the James Marsden buddy cop. The fatso guy. The Jack Black Kung Fu Panda guy. And I bet many people will feel insulted, which I don't care, because this is the same guy, because you guys are the guys who like Kung Fu Panda. I hate that movie, by the way. I don't care, you know what, I don't care what you guys say, but honestly, like, as I said before, out of laziness and also kind of like uninteresting thing, I just I was kind of like, going wishy-washy, and rarely on occasion I do return to making vlogs out of television series. But after talking with my friends about the show, but I couldn't show them my complete list because I feel like this list should come in public. This is the reason I decided to go out from Groundhog Day, go out from the caverns, and be kind of like the prophet, saying that this is what you guys make me do. I have to come out and make this vlog because people should know. People should know about this. People should know why why I'm calling that the Sonic movie franchise is falling apart. I saw this ever since Sonic 2, in which the more I think about it, it gets worse and worse and worse. Not because of the Sonic thing, but it's the James Marsden thing. I've been warning you. No wonder. Again, I'm trending this. I'm gonna try to trend this. I don't care if it's unpopular or no, but please, try to trend this. Hashtag get rid of James Marsden. Please, get rid of him. Get rid of him and all the other people. I know that since James Marsden is not in that TV series, he started it. He started the whole shabacle, so we should get to the root of the problem. Get rid of James Marsden. Kill him off. I don't care. I mean, there's going to be the upcoming Sonic 3 movie, and you know what? I don't mind Keanu Reeves as Shadow. Honestly, I'm actually eager for Shadow, but then after watching this, I lost faith. I lost faith on the whole thing. So, you know what? It is time. It is time for me to reveal you the whole list. And this is going to be one of the long ones until I finish that list of why this series pissed me off to the extreme. Never in my life I was so angry on a Sonic property. Let alone a TV series. So let's get into this journey. So as you can see, for a brief synopsis, the whole series is mostly about Knuckles the Kid now living, with Sonic and Tails, like roommates and all this thing. It's the second movie, and of course, apparently, Knuckles is told that he's gonna, he needs to train someone, and apparently he decided to train this Wade guy. I don't know what he saw in him, and then they go on a road trip for a bowling competition. That's the summary of the whole thing that You might be thinking, okay, this feels more like the weight show more than Knuckles. And guess what? Yes, it's about the weight. And yes, and you know what? Let's start it out because it. So the whole thing, I've been putting, all the problems that I'm finding with this particular franchise and universe of Sonic. First of all, now I'm beginning to see that the James Marsden family name is Wachowski, and the more I thought about it, it sounded like Witwiki, because how much people really love the Stan Witwicky character from the Transformers movie, and the more I thought about it, I'm trying to begin to compare the whole series to to Transformers or the Smurfs and all this stuff. Oh my god. And then, then continuing the first episode, I kind of noticed that they still kind of call Sonic and the other one kids. Yeah, we could kind of debate that Sonic and Knuckles, they're practically kind of like 14 years old or 15 years old. Even the Sega trying to showcase that they're basically that kind of age range. Although it kind of doesn't sound exactly alike, the only one who actually sounds like a kid is Tails, because Tails is always the younger one of them all. Yeah, and here comes kind of like the first grand problem that this series had is the plug-in. This series has so many commercial plugins, and we started out with Doritos, and the series didn't even start it. The series doesn't start, and we just have Knuckles, eating Doritos, and he goes like, hey, hey, I would like to go, in this ranch place. Ew, ranch sucks. People kind of like it, but I never liked ranch. I tried it once and I didn't like it. And this kind of, then I put there the biggest problem that I found during the Sonic franchise is that it makes me want to go to the Sonic world instead of the human world. This is something that they kind of always miss, the problem in which it's kind of like it's basically this reverse isekai problem, and I think this is mostly a big problem in American shows, in which it did with the Smurfs, it did with Transformers, it did with this is no exception, in which we go they bring us to the human world, and they interact with human stuff, and you know how it went through. I'm not saying that it's a terrible idea, but also give it the balance to know, the other world. But the problem with that one is that we don't know about Sonic's world, and honestly, it feels like that world is more. It feels more interesting, and at the point it is so underdeveloped that it even causes a lot of, how can I say, plot holes. Now that I think about it. Okay, then we consider that, that there is a Game of Thrones plug-in, because Knuckles, he kind of begins to act at a Game of Thrones chair, in which Game of Thrones and all this stuff, and it all it kind of makes the Maddie character, who is the girlfriend of the James Marsden character, how can I say? She kind of get angry, and this is true. I kind of begin to feel how bad of an actress she is. Okay, not a worse actress, but she kind of goes kind of like that, and she begins to overact. And the more I think, when I see her act, I begin to convince that she is indeed a Tyler Perry movie character. This is the way how she acts, and remembering the whole movie, she's like that. And it doesn't help that she has freaking Medea as her mother. That she's the worst. The Medea character is the worst character, and I even say since the first movie that I hated this character. yeah, that mother character was so typically annoying that I don't know why people are trying to get. I mean, look, I never saw a Medea movie. Actually, I want to force some people, to watch with me a Medea movie, and because I feel curious to know what is the appeal of those Medea movies, those Tyler Perry movies. I don't want to know, but considering this, it's not convincing me. And and of course she grounds Knuckles because, well, apparently he's acting, like a child or something like that when he tried, like a warrior and all that stuff. Motherhood, and she doesn't even try, to scold him or something like that. Then of course the movie then jumps into Wade, the hero. I put Wade appears and suddenly it turns into a Chuck Lorre sitcom. I hope that you people like the later seasons of Two and a Half Men and Big Bang Theory, because this is gonna be like that. And this is me who actually kind of give a pass to the early seasons of Two and a Half Men. Of the Two and a Half Men, it kind of made me giggle because, ironically, Charlie Sheen was actually pretty funny, and Big Bang Theory, it has its moments, but I can see why people kind of didn't like it. But man, and then we got kind of like 2 minutes where we have no Sonic character, and it feels kind of like out of place. It feels kind of like lame. I put also there that it's trying too hard to be a live action cartoon, and I think I already mentioned a lot of times that this is the problem when you imitate cartoons on a live action scenario, especially in movies. Is that the thing is that no matter how much you try to imitate cartoons on movies and find that, I'm having fun with that, it doesn't work exactly that way because, how can I say, cartoons have some flexibility and charm into it, but real life, when we watch it in our eyes, they suck. And if you see something acting like a cartoon in real life, it's not charming. We perceive it as embarrassing, and this is no exception. It gets cringy and embarrassing. And of course, because they wanted to do, they wanted to play cute. Wade, he's in a bowling tournament, and he's defeated by a bratty girl. Apparently, what was that? Boy Scout girl. And of course, she has to be annoying because she's blonde. And then he's of course mocked by his partner, who is this guy who he acts like he's like freaking Machete. Danny? What's the name? He's a Danny Trejo wannabe. That man, that his lines suck and all this stuff. I hated this guy. And here comes also the biggest problem of this 6-episode long run is that during the first couple of minutes of this whole first episode, I was gonna see that this show is gonna hammer into your head the word warrior. Warrior is gonna be hammered into your head as much as the word trust is hammered into your head in that freaking movie called Raya and the Last Air freaking Bender. I know I made the joke many times. I don't care. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna get drunk and you're gonna die of alcohol poisoning if you make a drinking game on this show and take a sip whenever this show says the word warrior. And by the way, they don't even know what the word warrior is. Okay, first page off. And then of course, and I put this, is that Knuckles is planning a revenge on Maddie, in which, of course, he wants to have revenge on her because, well, she grounded him. But personally, I prefer. I want to see Knuckles say that he wants to have revenge because she has Medea as a mother and stealing like 10 or 15 minutes of the last movie. Oh god damn that wedding! I'm sorry, but that wedding scene from the second movie ruined everything. And then of course I put this Chief Nose concept of robot chicken. Did I put that? What did I put that in? Who was Chief, just in case? Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. This is where the chief that they kidnapped. He comes out, like a force ghost to Knuckles, and I don't remember why he put the concept of, oh no, rubber chicken. I don't know why he put robot chicken there. He apparently, for it being from another world, he apparently knows the concept of rubber chickens. I don't know. And then apparently the chief, he tells Knuckles that he wants to, he needs to train someone. And apparently he chooses Wade. I don't know how the chief knows about Wade. I put that there. And also, why him of all people? Which is, I also put that this is one of the things that I hated from Kung Fu Panda, because that turtle, he didn't need the panda, and suddenly he chose him as the warrior without proving anything. So why the hell? Why? And then apparently they wanted to play out that the chief goes into Force Ghost, and he's like, ooh, and then he bumps into the wall. He's like, oh, seriously? How come? And you know that he turns solid material out of convenience. The convenience for a joke and all that stuff. And then of course, apparently then Knuckles goes to see Wade. Wade apparently knows that Knuckles is grounded and all this stuff. I don't know how, but okay. And every time Wade talks, I always wanted to say, shut up, Wade. Shut up, Wade. Shut up, Wade. And this became a running gag while I write, in which I started at, he's Sandwich Wiki mixed with John Cryer from 2.5 Men. If you kind of hated John Cryer in 2.5 Men, this is this guy. And then of course we get introduced to Gun again, and from the second movie. Although Gun was kind of like really sloppishly introduced in the second movie because of Medea. And then I can't take the guys seriously because they act too cartoonish and all this stuff. Oh, we get kind of introduced with two guys who posed as gun agents, and it came kind of like a point in which they supposedly kill one guy by opening, a ring portal and dropping him there, probably to the Mushroom Kingdom. I don't know. And even I put there that they killed their own team, their own humanity side. Of course, this is when I had, I didn't know that these two were posters. But still, that kind of begs the question how the gun guys, they got a hold the ring and all this stuff. I don't remember. And you know what? After all this, I don't even care to go with that. But man, these guys, these two agents, they are basically a more annoying version of Boris and Natasha from the Rocky and Bullwinkle series. Although at least the Boris and Natasha has some sense of dignity, this guy's not. Even the woman agent, she looks like the bad guy from King of the Crystal Skull. The only thing that she's missing is she's gonna get a whip, but unfortunately that will make a kind of a Phoenix-like right character look undignified. And man, my God, I'm gonna hate this, my punch for this. But this character, man, that I hated her. And you know what? Hate is gonna be. I'm gonna spout the word hate into this vlog more than the word warriors into this. Okay, let's continue on. Then we went to kind of like the Wade and Knuckles, they kind of go into the most over the top bowling alley ever. I mean, it's been a while since I've been to a bowling alley, but I've never seen that colorful and all this stuff. And by the way, there's a lot of people there, and apparently people are okay with walking a kidnap talking in his 2 feet. No one cares about that. And of course, this is when we get, of course, the typical thing that they should made is that they made referential humor. It is not only referential humor but referential music. They have this is where it happens in almost every single action scene. Every single action scene in this show, they put some music that a pop music for reference and all this stuff because hey, let's feel like wanna be a hero or classical music or something like that. Almost like they have no faith of musicians creating their own stuff. They kind of think that this is kind of like Kick-Ass or Kingsman. Even though the Kingsman and Kick-Ass, they kind of earned that. Although they kind of lost their den with Argyle. Okay, let me continue on. Then, of course, there's an air horn because kids love air horns. They kind of overuse it every single time. This is kind of like being the most overused more than the Wilhelm scream. And then, okay, I already say that about my problem that they are okay with walking a kidnap roaming around in the open field of a bowling alley. Then Wade reaches Rob Snyder level, and then they always have that they always come they have this catchphrase, and then someone has to explain it. Oh man. Like for example, one guy is when the agents appear, the gun agents appear. They battle Knuckles, and the guy is like, "Hey, do I look like I need your power?" Just like in the last movie. And then the woman is like, "Really? Of course we need your power," and all this stuff. And they stretch the whole thing to the point that it loses the joke or the moment. Every time, this is another thing that this whole horrible thing has, is that there's an epic moment sometimes, and they ruin it by explaining, or something comedic happen. It drowns out the moment. Okay, then I put that there's awkward dialogues. Wade can emote warrior expression. He's kind of like, you can tell that this guy tries so hard and he can't act. And then, of course, this is where I put also the series is gonna hammer the word warrior in our head. Isn't it? And yeah, it does, because even the theme song is about warriors. Even the theme song, they hammer your head warrior. And let me change or something like that. Yeah, this is where I think this is where I went into episode 2, and this is where I put that Wade reaches Paul Blart cringe. And of all the references, also they reference Bad Boys. Oh, I think it's because they were watching Bad Boys somehow for some reason. I don't know. I haven't seen Bad Boys. I'm not into it. Then Wade reaches Bubsy level of cringe. No wonder every time I'm beginning to say, "Shut up, Wade! Shut up, Wade! Shut up, Wade!" And then of course they had this moment in which, of course, the agents capture Knuckles, and Wade have to rescue Knuckles. And the woman interrogate Knuckles, and I can't even know if this woman is trying Russian accent or not, just like the Russian from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but she's kind of begging to become how can I say, to be Russian, but of course they cannot be Russian because, well, And then I put referential humor. I need a hero with Wade talking over by being a goofball. Yeah, because Wade had kind of like this daydream that he's gonna be badass on a rescue mission, but it's so cringe. I even put that not even Adventure of Sonic was that cartoony, because at least the Adventure of Sonic, the cartoon humor, it is valid. It comes cartoon. It earns it, but not this. And then of course I put that this has rich Sony Marvel humor level of cringe, in which once was acceptable, but nowadays Sony Marvel humor has become cringe, especially nowadays. And then okay, now I put, aren't you supposed not to talk to Knuckles? Because here's the thing. One the gun agent who was talking to Knuckles, and then comes the woman and she says like, "Hey, you're not supposed to talk with the prisoner." And then of course she breaks her own rule when she begins to talk to Knuckles later. So what was the point of that? And then I put that Wade reaches Pauly Shore level of annoyance. And then we got an action scene, and guess what? Another referential music. And then of course Wade reaches Homer Simpson TV show level of annoyance. If those who doesn't know what I meant to, it remember one of the few good episodes of The Simpsons, although that wasn't one of my favorite episodes. There was an episode where the family were watching pilot TV shows, and there was kind of like a buddy cop show where this guy with a scarf was so cool. He was badass, and ironically his name was Homer Simpson. So Homer kind of begins to brag that, hey, this guy is going to be great. But that was a pilot episode. So when the show finally was going to show up, then much to the surprise of Homer, he sees that the character, his show was changed into a body cop, where the character that was supposed to be a badass, he was actually changed to a big, obese, dumb as shit goofball that no one takes seriously. So it turned him into a comedy, and Homer, of course, he feels ashamed that it was more than his reputation. That Homer Simpson guy, that's Wade. That's Wade. This is kind of like the body cop in which they the whole thing is these assholes. How can I say? Just watching a guy loses his dignity. The only thing missing is Wade, stumbling into a cactus. And of course, the second episode ends with Wade doing of course, the second episode I did say that Wade is doing most of the work, and Knuckles is the one that is sitting down or doing almost nothing. And by the way, that's the running gag of this whole show. And yes, we got another plug-in. There's a Frito-Lay on the side. Okay, then they're gonna. There was gonna make a kind of like a phone call, and it was like phone call in a time like that. Oh yeah, I remember. I'm going out of order, but I'm trying to remember what it is. There's this lame fight scene with Wade, using the knuckles and fighting the gun agent, and apparently then the gun agent gets a call from his mother. Does it reach to anything? No, it was just like, hey, mother, stuff. Okay, let's continue. It was so poorly executed, especially when these two jackasses are horrible. And then it was, and that call, of course, this is all for nothing, and I add that this is Garbage Pail Kids movie kind of humor. You know what? I should rewatch that Garbage Pail Kids movie. I know it's gonna be horrible and disgusting. I was exactly never a fan of Garbage Pail Kids, but anything will be better than what I'm watching. And this is when I noticed, of course, that the recurrences about the music, in which becomes recurring that music gets epic only to be drowned down by lame, silly, awkward silence or music. That's what I mentioned before. And then, of course, we get an E.T. reference with, Knuckles carrying out a fatso. it is kind of like I'm gonna admit that, well, this is kind of like a silly thing to watch, but considering that is way, God, it's embarrassing. This is the lowest the lowest way of dignity that you can have to Knuckles. And yeah, I did put Wade riding Knuckles. It's an awkward sight. And then convince, and then I put, yeah, convince. Wade and Knuckles is like that Homer Simpson TV episode. I already mentioned that. Oh yeah, there's the Frito-Lay's product placement. There's the chips over there when they are asking for burgers, which I am surprised that they're not kind of like Arby's, and still people doesn't question about the walking echidna. And then of course I put Wade keeps talking. Wade reaches Adam Sandler level of annoyances, and then apparently Wade kind of makes a lame excuse that everything was heroic. It was kind of like heroic. This is, it was awful. Let me tell you. I know that Knuckles is not exactly the smartest brick in the woods and all this stuff, but what Wade did, it was anything less than heroic. I've seen, dumb characters being, awfully lucky and kind of being called heroic or something like that, but there is kind of like anime sometimes have the semblance of making these characters, ponder of their ineptitude or something like that, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't in a way, but whatever this guy did, no. And of course the woman still overreacts, the gun agent, and this is where I put that. They are Boris and Natasha, but more cringe. And apparently Knuckles say that Wade became stronger than he thinks. But you know what? He never proved it. Wade never proved. What he did was much more like dumb luck or something like that. He didn't show anything. Anything. Oh yeah, he's the guy who won a competition of eating, pizza rolls. Gross, disgusting. I like pizza rolls, but this guy, no, he doesn't show anything. Okay, Wade reaches more Adam Sandler annoyance. And then apparently they put a bounty on Wade's head. On Wade. What about Knuckles? Knuckles should be the one to be on the bounty, not Wade. Or at least both of them, but just Wade? Nobody's even talk about the echidna. And then, of course, we get it. We reach the cliffhanger of the second episode where he reaches to his mother. And this is where I put, great. We went from Medea to Little Fockers. Brilliant. And of course, people begin to say that the third episode actually begins to say that Knuckles, that they're gonna hide Knuckles because, and they're not gonna hide Knuckles from the family because he's gonna freak people out. Oh yeah, says the guy who brought Knuckles into a bowling alley full of people. And yeah, even the third episode doesn't even start like the last episode. It just started, reaching to his home, and there's the mother, and then the worst aspect of the whole series appear. Okay, Wade is one of them, but then now we got the second worst. We get introduced not only to the mother, but also his sister, an FBI agent who looks like Christine Wiig. And her, right on the get-go, she's unlikable. She hates the guy's guts, and man, that the way she talks is like, oh, but I'm the best of it, like that. She kind of has a kind of like this surfer attitude to that. Oh God, she got me. And yeah, they begin to bicker like little children, considering that, I don't know, there's kind of like 30-year-old people, and man, and this is where I put that this has turned into a Disney Channel sitcom, and a bad one. Ultimately, Disney Channel, honestly, people, the more I think about it, Disney Channel sitcoms they were never good. I'm starting to kind of realize that I was kind of like a stupid guy. Although there were some that are kind of concepts, acceptable. The more I think about it, they were not. Disney Channel sitcoms, they're as bad as a bad Chuck Lorre sitcom or a bad Spock sitcom, whatever you're gonna call it. And of course, isn't then comes where the cliffhanger ended, with the mother fainting, and it's not even faithful to the cliffhanger because when we saw in the cliffhanger, the mother is the one that faints, and out of nowhere, and she's alone. But then we get to the scene and she faints because she sees Knuckles, and we got the sister behind her. So there's not even an inconsistency on the scenes. That was bullshit. I gotta tell you, bullshit. And okay, they begin, to talk about it. And they have to keep Knuckles kind of like a secret and all this stuff. And people saying that this kind of became a kind of like a worldwide phenomenon about Sonic 2 and all this stuff. The more I think about it, the Sonic 2 was the thing that happened with Dr. Eggman wasn't exactly much of a big deal, I would say. It wasn't even, worldwide thing that everyone might even talk about it. I mean, people might talk about, in Sonic Adventure 2, where the moon blew up and all this stuff, but not this. And now that I think about it, for Robotnik to have a reputation, he didn't do exactly much. Okay, then of course, the FBI agent used a weapon detecting device practically on Knuckles, in which I don't know why she did that, because Knuckles basically has no clothes except for his clothes. So what was the point of weapon detecting? And also, why would you take out? I'm not exactly a cop or an FBI agent or something like that, but I don't think that you're allowed to have a weapon detector at your home. I don't think that you're allowed to bring that. And of course, they begin to bicker, and the sister is like, I'm never not on duty, bruh. And Wade is like, damn, that's a good line. And I scream, no, it's not. That's not a good line. Especially the way she said it, and she was, and now that I think about it, this woman, she is basically all the characters of Ghostbusters 2016 combined. Okay, and then of course, it's Knuckles, like your fist. Don't overcomplicate by your try-hard comedy. Now I remember. It's because they kind of try to overcomplicate your joke by saying that Knuckles, so like Kunkles or something like that. They wanted to say that. They wanted to say that Knuckles is not an easy way to say. It's not a complicated way. It's Knuckles, like your fist. Don't overcomplicate things on purpose. This become moronic, and the worst thing is that this mother, she always put an exposition saying that, oh, we're Jewish because you were Jewish things, Jewish this, Jewish that, and all this stuff, and of course we got kind of like a dream sequence when the mother invites Knuckles to dinner, in which it kind of turns kind of like oddly satanic, even with a goat in there. And I was like, what the hell was that with the daydreaming sequence? Which, it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't technically kind of like funny and all that stuff. But I still was like, what the hell was that? Yeah. And then Wade does a Happy Madison face, because this is the lower of lower that you get. And of course they keep saying Jewish this, Jewish that, and all this stuff. And this is when I realized I didn't even want it to go through with the other Sonic movies. I think that the reason we got Medea and that ethnicity is because they wanted to appeal the DEI checklist. I never didn't want it to go that far, but But when they begin to shoehorn in Jewish this, Jewish that in that particular episode, this is where my suspicions came about, and I didn't want it to go play that card. I usually never want to do that, but now this is getting ridiculous. And of course, like I said, this reached the level of Little Fockers rom-com. Yeah, by the way, yeah, Little Fockers it was a comedy, and a very bad one. I never seen it, but I know the reputation that it has. And of course, we got a Jewish meal that it looked like a lovely meal, but then apparently someone, I don't know if it was Knuckles, yeah, it was Knuckles, that he just said, "So brown." Is this how you describe a Jewish meal? She made a lovely meal and you just say, "So brown." And yeah, this woman began to hammer, that this is Jewish this, Jewish that, this unintentionally turned into a Jewish special. I don't know if this is gonna be worse than what was it, what was it that Adam Sandler 8 Nights Jewish movie, Christmas movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I know the reputation that it's pretty bad. And of course, "Lovely woman, that is your sister," said Knuckles. Nah, no she is. And of course, adults act like children. Like for example, the sister kind of like drops the spoon, and she's like, and the guy like pick it up or something like that. You see 25 or 30 years old acting like 6-year-old. That is so embarrassing. And not even for a comedy's sake. And if you wanted to say that, oh, because children is gonna like this, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're insulting their intelligence. This became worse than Little Fockers, and then of course Knuckles burped because everybody loves burping because kids love burp. Although you know what, there is something called how can I say, table manners. Maybe the woman should say you should have at least retributed by someone saying that, "Knuckles, manners, you should not burp," or something like that. But no way. And then Ray kind of reaches humble level of narcissism because he just kind of like, "I did something like that." I think it's kind of like the second way that he didn't do shit or something like that. And then apparently the mother begins to say that she knows about the Knuckles thing, and I say that yet you fainted for that about this, and then and I did also complain that the whole saving the world thing wasn't exactly much of a big deal because the world wasn't even technically affected too much in the first 2 movies because of and apparently it wasn't such a big deal because nobody knows about this. Nobody knows about Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles at this matter. So the whole thing, it doesn't even remember its own thing. That is so confusing. It's so confusing, and the bickering became so maddening that I hate that family. I hate that family they reach, and then it happened. Their bickering became so bad that the sister grabs a fork and stabs it on his brother's arm. Because comedy. And I'm not gonna lie. At that point, I was like, that's it. I'm out. It was that exact moment when she stabbed her brother with a fork. It was the moment, that was my boiling point. I reached the moment where I was like, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. Fuck this series. Fuck everything. I paused the video. I went to the bathroom. I had this urge to punch someone. So I gave it a big punch on the bathroom curtains, which I know is so beneath me, especially, and this is not a kind of temper that nobody should do, especially considering that, hey, this is a TV show, you shouldn't do something like that. But it still makes me mad about how they allow people insult the intelligence of younger people with this, and use the Sonic franchise as an excuse to showcase bullshit like this. So, and that stabbing on the fork, it was kind of like the last straw that this show gave me. I couldn't stand it. It depressed me. It made me so angry. I didn't want it to continue. I had to take a break. So, I took an hour-long break. But I was in a really, really foul mood. Everything was getting so bad. Wade the Wade thing, and the whole thing with his family was so escalating that when the moment comes when they stabbed in the fork, this is what I beginning to have a kind of like an epiphany about how this could have worked in a kind of like on other, how can I say, shows. First of all, in other shows, they kind of have, kind of like a comeuppance. Like, for example, they do that to someone that deserves it, or it's unlikable, or it's unlikable, and they establish kind of like these kind of characters, and also there is a kind of like a bit of consequences. So I was remembering, one of my favorite comedies of all time, which is the anime Gintama. In Gintama, have the character, hitting each other sometimes, other stuff, being sadistic each other, mean-spirited. But either way, what makes it up for it is that still these characters kind of respect each other. They treat each other, with respect, with some dignity, and it is kind of like a dysfunctional family, but still they can tell that they respect each other, and this is kind of how the comedy works, and it doesn't reach mean-spirited level. This is cynical mean-spiritedness. And the stabbing of the fork was enough. You lost me. Is this gonna get any better? No. Okay. So after taking that break, I decided to continue. I took a break after the stab with his fork. And let's continue. And of course, Wade after he just say, "Oh, they're very adult. This is not the adult thing." And I was like, yeah, say the man child. And then of course the brother and the sister, they kind of leave, and the mother's reaction is like, "Of course they leave me here alone." And my reaction is, your daughter stabbed his brother with a fork. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you, woman? Your sister stabbed your brother with this, a fork. You're lucky that she didn't stab him in the eye. And you know what? In the eye, in the arm, whatever. Being stabbed with a fork hurts. I'm telling you. Nobody talks more about, stabbing with a fork. And then, of course, we reveal that Wade has dad issues because the dad say that he was a schmuck or something like that. And, okay. And by the way, we got, of course, awkward music. Music gets very awkward, and of course it gets awkward because we had a stab that apparently leaves no blood or whatever it is, and okay, Wade apparently he has kind of like a room for saying that that's a big picture for Wade or something like that. Oh yeah, because they got a picture of Wade and doing kind of like a goofy face, And by the way, we go to Wade's room, and it's probably the most 90s room you could ever see for a man of his age. You see a lot of 90s things that it screams nostalgia. You see, posters of movies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bed sheets, and 90s computer and all this stuff. I was mesmerized at how much they just wanted to cram, the nostalgia. And you know what? Some of my peers, they kind of, they just kind of want to forgive this because of nostalgia and all this stuff. It's because these guys are the ones who, give a positive to the awful Ghostbusters Jr. and, of course, Ghostbusters Jr. Oh, wait, that Phoebe movie, which also has the same problem that this piece of shit. Okay. And yeah, we get and of course we get introduced that Wade looks up to his father because his father, he is also kind of like a champion of bowling, and he also, apparently he's so much as a champion that he even made it into the movies. And his name, the way Knuckles says this is, he says Pistol Pete Whipple. And the way he sounds it comes kind of in language, almost like piss. And by the way, yeah, I did say that how the hell they have 90s tech in 2024. And then some friend of mine did tell me that some people, they do have some 90s tech that still work, but man, that they push, with the 90s tech, that not only with the computer, but with the CD players and all this stuff, which I'm not gonna lie, I wish I could find one of those, but but man. And then of course we got more musical reference because God's Lord said that this movie cannot bring out, a nostalgic music for on its own. And then of course that it did say that Wade was abandoned by the father, but he somehow idolizes him, which is kind of, I don't know. I understand that there's kind of like movies like that. Although they did it better, like the Shazam movie, in which we got, what was the main character of that one? I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but we got the kid that idolizes the mother until she sees that it's done. But you know what? The Shazam movie did better than this movie's gonna get. And I get that territory, but I'll get to it. And then of course she saw, and the way kind of say that the Wade's mother begins to say that she misses family moments and she acts heartless for a woman. And honestly, I say that she acts heartless for a woman who didn't do anything when a daughter stabs her brother with a fork. Now that I don't care if you miss family moments, you should never stab your brother with a fork, no matter how much you kind of like hate her or something like that. Yeah, and then she begins to watch with Knuckles' Pretty Woman, and even we get the Pretty Woman reference because. And then, of course, the movie becomes very Home Alone-ish for a thrilling moment because bounty hunters begin to showcase, and they just want Wade. Even though they should be hunting for Knuckles. And of course, we get this lame action scene. Knuckles begins, doing kind of like all the work while Wade, stop doing something like that. And then apparently the sister, she's not scared of seeing a stranger with a chain in her house. And the guy then attacked her. And here's the problem. They begin to attack the sister and the mother, the bounty hunters. You guys, they have nothing to do with it. You guys are supposed to hunt for Wade. They didn't ask, where's Wade, or something like that. They don't ask the question, where's Wade, before attacking them. They just simply attack them. And the woman and the lady, FBI agent, she doesn't do good. She doesn't fight. And then as I put that woman is as annoying and so unlikable as Wade, and she's only in this episode. No, she's not. She's gonna be there. Then we got referential music again. Then we got this old lady beating bounty hunters, even though it is a stunt double with a CGI face. And of course, with a pile of unconscious people there, the mother is like, what a mother wouldn't want. Not being attacked. She goes like, oh, we're a family. What a mother wouldn't want. Not being attacked by a stranger for starters. And a sister who stabs her brother with a fork. I did put episode 3 is the worst. No resolution, no heart, rush, cringe, mean-spirited, worst Hanukkah special ever. Even, and then we got episode 4. We got more referential music. Then seriously, this is a bad sitcom and that just has Knuckles. I'm beginning to get convinced by that. And then, of course, the bad guys, they grabbed Wade by the ankle with a rope, and they drag him down the street with a car. And Knuckles and the sister just wait there, and they're like, oh, let Wade solve his problem. Our hero and some FBI leaving a man getting kidnapped. It wouldn't have been bad if they have kind of like a level of trust in that character. For example, if something like that happened, for example, to Goku or Luffy, at least you could have some level of trust by saying that, don't worry, I know that he'll come up fine. Because at least there's a level of trust that you get there. Not Wade. He didn't show shit. And you call this kind of like a training. And I also put, yeah, being dragged miles on a motorbike is not that deadly because the guy, he was dragged on a motorbike. This thing hurts. Your body is getting dragged on concrete and stones there. And then you get dragged there, miles, and the guy has nothing. And of course, it's the Danny Trejo guy who captures Wade. He betrays him. And apparently also he's alongside the bratty girl with her parents, the one from the first episode with the Boy Scouts. And she's there during the whole episode playing Switch. Because commercial plug. And of course, I put that Wade reaches Dana Carvey level of annoyances. And then I am struggling to say that Wade reaches Jack Black level of prankness. Because I am the only guy who hates Jack Black. And this guy acts like Jack Black. And the aspects that I hate from Jack Black. And still people find an excuse, to love Jack Black. And this is why I kind of struggle to say even with my friends that he reaches that level. And then of course, Knuckles called him that he said that he's their trainer or something like that. But Knuckles, your friend is in danger. You're supposed to be the hero. You're supposed to be on the title. And this guy who can't even defend himself from a sister who stabs him with a fork can't do shit. And by the way, then he gets kind of like in a dream sequence where he's kind of like in a bowling alley, and then he gets visited by the spirit of the chief, Knuckles chief, and then he goes like, ah, and they begin to scream. They begin to scream like you've seen something, horrible. And I was like, wait, you've seen Knuckles? Why are you scared of another kid now? This is where it reaches Fred level of annoyances. And by the way, the chief is voiced by Christopher Lloyd, and reaching his Oogie Love level of annoyance. I apologize for that abrupt cut. The, the video battery went so long that, well, the iPhone reached full capacity, and well, you can tell that this video is getting long, but of course, an awful series really deserves a kind of like a long roast, considering that I'm just reading all these points about that. I also want to apologize that while transferring the video to my computer, at least that first part, I kind of noticed that the video is a little bit kind of like blinking once in a while, kind of almost like an old film and all that stuff. I don't know what happened during that. Maybe it's kind of like a consequence about that. I can't help it, and I don't want to make a kind of like a second take on this one. This is all those things. But at least it gave me a little bit of a time to regain a little bit of my composure. But either way, let's continue on. I do remember that I was talking about how insulting is Christopher Lloyd being there, giving advice to Wade, and yeah, I don't know why the chief had to come to Wade of all people. Couldn't he? First of all, he couldn't have it done sooner, or to someone better. And I mean, why do you care about Wade? Even though aren't the echidnas supposed to be kind of like the, well, quote unquote bad guys? But unfortunately, this idiot didn't how can I say, I kind of put a staple on the Sonic universe, because they were too preoccupied doing the rom-com part of the story. And honestly, it's not that I hate the human characters of Sonic. I mean, people kind of always hate it because they were really badly written, except for Robotnik. I mean, look at Chris Thorndike and his group of friends. They were terrible. They were terribly written because they're terribly written. No wonder people kind of hate Chris Thorndike. James Marsden wasn't exactly bad, but then the second movie kind of made it worse. I think that it could have been better if Sonic, who learn, befriend more humans, different humans. Don't stay with just James Marsden and his rom-com comedy. And it was kind of like awful. I tried to warn people about that, and then we got Wade Whipple. Wade Whipple. My God, it's getting worse. Okay, let's continue on. Yeah. Okay, where do I start? Yeah, I did say it about Christopher Lloyd, and then of course the chief echidna that changes clothing because he saying that, okay, that's more fitting now. He dressed up, for the bowling, the stuff. Yeah, as he is still, in kind of in this dream world, and then Wade swallows a rainbow, and this is where the movie takes his LSD. It takes his drug, and then the whole episode, and I'm serious, the whole episode kind of turns into this YouTube video that it feels like it's making a parody of itself. With it turns into a music video. And we see, the thing that made a meme, Wade dressing up as Knuckles, because might as well be, because since Wade technically kidnaps the whole series, why not dress him up as the guy who is supposed to be the one in the series, Knuckles? And we got kind of like this singing that is so off-key and so awful, and then you make the gall of mentioning Longclaw. You barely use Longclaw. The owl who was the surrogate mother of Sonic? She's almost never mentioned during this whole movie series. She was only just there, but she is. She's MacGuffin Longclaw, something like that. She's barely even mentioned in the second movie, which it was supposed to. Like I said, if we could get rid of the James Marsden stuff, we could have more room to know about Longclaw. And I did complain that instead of focusing on James Marsden Media Club, they should have made the solidify the friendship between Sonic and Tails. Because honestly, this is so lousy and rushed that it just. I just couldn't. And this is kind of like perfect example. And now you're there to mention Longclaw. And by the way, Wade have no, he doesn't barely know her. So why the frick you mention Longclaw? That's just insulting. We barely know about her. We want to know about her, and you gave us this is kind of like this middle finger or something that, oh yeah, that was basically a MacGuffin. Screw you. The whole cringes musical, I put it there, it makes cats look dignified, and it turned into a spoof. And yeah, it's much the kind of, all these YouTube videos that they kind of spoof and all this stuff. That had no place in this. It's just, it was total cringe. And by the way, I did mean it. It made cats look dignified. The horrible CGI cats movie and all this stuff. Because, you know what, at least there was a sense of, at least there was a kind of like a sense of trying on cats, I'll say. In a way, indirectly, the CGI was awful, I'll say. Still one of the worst movies of that year, but I can see worse than that. But no, this is worse. Okay, and even there was a moment in which Wade is like, it's just stop the math, and he's like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I got your idea. So he just somehow stops the music video, and even when the chief is like, hey, we're not done yet, and then he just wakes up from his dream just to be stupid. And I put that this is turning to that Darn Cat remake level of humor, which is. It's as cringy, in it reminded me of, the cringy moment in that Darn Cat where the guy, he just begins to act like a cat. That was cringe. And of course, it just because Wade wakes up for a moment in order to try, saying, oh yeah, I need to punch things. But he's so weak that he can't, because they have this running gag where he's been taken in this, in this electrifying cage where he constantly gets electrified because electrocution is humorous. Okay, then we get back to the cringy musical and it's so cheap. Even I can't even praise the cheap special effects because ever since episode 3, all I seeing is red, and I can't praise that. And it's so cheap. It's so cheap. There's a level of you can accept cheapness on a Muppet movie, but this is not. You didn't deserve that. And then, of course, the musical ends, and then apparently Wade became so strong that he just jumped like Superman, breaks the ceiling of the cage, and makes a superhero landing. How did he do that? He had no training, no physique, nothing. He just suddenly turned into a superhero out of nowhere, which is the same bullshit that they made in Kung Fu Panda. I'm sorry you people like Kung Fu Panda, but I still hate that movie. This turned into cartoonish level of cringe. Essentially someone who doesn't deserve that. How the hell did he manage to get? He had no training scenes, nothing to build his strength, and somehow he gets those superpowers enough to break a steel cage. And jump up like he is freaking Superman. How the hell did he do that? And of course, because it wants to rely on awkward humor, which this always does. It always comes, where he lands and then look around and there's people, in this case kind of like children on their bikes, always looking like this. Kind of like unemotionless. No room. This is almost like the level of humor that they always do. It comes, you make a joke, then look around awkwardly, and there's this awkward moment. Jeez. Sorry, I think I give myself a little bit of a paper cut here. And of course, Atari Hanzo, I think I heard of something like that. And What can I say? Well, because the guy begins, the Danny Trejo guy kind of begins to challenge him, and I kind of spout out gibberish. At least the funny thing, yesterday I was watching this Jim Henson Hour special called Dog City. You know, with the at least I found humor in which there's a karate move, and it was called like Waya Yaura because at least it makes sense that it's because I oughta. Not here, not here. And of course, the children just watch. Apparently, on a deadly match in which one guy has they have swords. There's a deadly battle. Nobody is phased. It's like having a middle of a shootout. Although somehow it could be a little bit funnier if it wasn't like in a Yakuza video game series where in Yakuza video game series there is every time you enter a battle in the city somehow somehow you're surrounded by people kind of like street fight here and there. Now, at least Yakuza kind of earned that silliness, not in this one. And of course, well, Danny Trejo is battling with a sword and motorcycle. Because of his pathetic being, he takes a bike, and because he can't be more pathetic enough. And then people appear out of part of these kids. People appear out of nowhere. It's almost like a neighborhood that just shows up. There's not even there's no continuity in which people kind of shows up and say, hey, what's going on, or something like that. No, they just pop out of nowhere. So much that there's even a mailman who, for some reason, has a flare gun in which shoots and it says go or something like that. And this reached Happy Madison level I put there. And you see the kind of like the lamest joust you could ever see, and somehow Wade wins. And of course, it makes him, it forces the bounty hunter Danny Trejo to remove a lot of his clothing. But it goes almost further than that. Even I kind of regret saying that. I was like, oh shit, it's gonna. You know what? I don't think I can't say it here and there, but you know the idea. So I just and everyone is like, hey, Wade is a warrior, and it was like, Wade is the underserved warrior, and of course he returns home with to see Knuckles. It wasn't even in this episode. Barely, he wasn't even a guy in his own show. With Wade is like coming back with the mother saying that, hey, get off the lawn. And of course, hold on a second. I think I got my Facebook here. There, turn it off so the chat doesn't go with it. And of course, he and Knuckles, they go on a bike ride because they have to go to reach their destination to the bowling competition. And to make it worse, they brought the mother and the sister into that road show. And we have more referential music with the Warriors logo stolen from the movie of the Warriors. You know, the movie that had Warriors come out and play. That was awful. Episode 4, almost no Knuckles. What the hell? Oh yeah, and by the way, Knuckles have the cowboy hat because it references the Sonic movie. You know, the bad one that went there. God damn it. Okay, then we got episode 5. They reach, oh yeah, we got, of course, the people, they reached apparently, what was the kind of that Las Vegas style kind of city? I don't remember. More cringy dialogue. They get inside a casino. And then this FBI agent, she's like, now I'm gonna get myself a Wonderita. You overacting schlock. But frick that movie. And then Wade, he just begins to say that no, we can't do anything. We have to keep a low profile. Low profile my ass. You're still in the open with a talking echidna. And you're supposed to be And by the way, for someone who is on low profile, you're not making a good, you're not doing a good job considering that the bounty is on you, on the serving. So, but you're not doing a good job. You're not doing a good job keeping a low profile. You just there because you just want to meet your father and going to the the competition. How can I say to feel like you're a warrior or something like that. And like I say, put it. Also, they want you, not they only want you, not Knuckles or his annoying family or all this stuff. It's so you see how incompetent this whole thing is. And then, of course, we finally see the father. The father somehow he's dressed up like a British guy, and of course they made a terrible job, and he's like, oh my god, it's so cool. He acts like a smug that he's just awful. Have anyone seen that movie called Dodgeball? That's what this movie turned out. This movie suddenly turned into Dodgeball. Out of Dodgeball, there is kind of like a sense of a guilty pleasure. I kind of enjoy it, at least on the first time. I have to watch it again if it still holds up. But not this. This is getting cringe. And then there is the awkward father-son moment in which apparently Knuckles is like, "Hey, you're gonna meet your father" and all this stuff, and it just give him kind of like an iPhone and all this stuff, and he just act like a robot in front of the father. Until the father is like, "Hey, I remember you. You're my son," and all this stuff, yeah. And it is as awkward as it is cringe. Okay. Then I put weight reach sandwich wiki level of awkwardness. Yeah, deep wang level. And then apparently woman is beginning to say that he knew about woman, and I don't know, Knuckles is always supposed to be kind of like the clueless guy, especially on women. Especially when, how his relationship with Rouge the Bat in the original series. He's always kind of like awkward and clueless about this, but it's also because of his personality. He's stubborn, he's a warrior, and he's not kind of like the brightest guy in it, but he doesn't do anything. It shouldn't know even about women, especially in this world. And then, of course, we get to see some guy in a costume that kind of looked like Knuckles, but no. It looks like ugly Knuckles. Kind of like a mixture between Uganda Knuckles and... Do you remember... If anyone remembered that Sprite commercial, that creepy Sprite commercial about the images and everything... It is kind of like a spoof about... It is a spoof commercial when children, they are, talking... they're with orange juice, and then this creepy mascot pops out that scares the wits out of them. Kind of like that. And then, how can I say? Knuckles, when Knuckles sees, Wade and the father bonding, Knuckles kind of begins to say, "You have not lost your touch," but I reiterate by saying, "You lost your show, Knuckles. But you lost your show." And then we're back, of course, with Boris and Natasha characters, the gun agents, and they betrayed, and now they talk with this guy that they only build him up in the first episode, which is kind of like this bounty hunter guy who apparently he was also an ally for Robotnik. He apparently leads with them, and then we get this woman overacting the hell out of it and begin to say why she is why she hates gun and why she wants Knuckles and all this stuff, and basically she's a racist. Let's say that she's a racist against aliens. That's it, and it will happen, but it's just in an exposition level that they want to find a comedical, but no, it doesn't. And the other guy, no, nothing. And they get, then of course, the opportunity to try to catch them. It's so cartoonish and her delivery that I can't take it seriously. And the whole thing didn't even kind of earn it. And And then, of course, we got product placement with ESPN. I forgot to mention that there's also product placement, I think, one of Facebook and Spotify and all this stuff. But the whole thing feels like a Spotify commercial. And the ESPN guys, they call bowling the poor man baseball. How many people who are professionals on baseball are bowling, they're gonna be offended by that. And even the ESPN guy, he tries very lame by saying, let's get ready to roll some bowling balls. Like, oh, you're trying so hard. You're trying so hard. And we got more referential music in this, in the, on this, tournament montage. Because they're finally playing the bowling tournament. And guess what? Even the little girl is there, the bratty little girl, which kind of begs the question, how the hell a little girl is playing on a tournament of adults? How can, where is the rules that speculate that there's an age limit to go there, especially in a casino of all places? And of course, Wade started acting, that he's embarrassment. Every time he, gets a strike, he kind of like make this goofy dance, and it's just embarrassing. And by the way, considering also the father and everyone, for some reason, everyone are dressed up like ice skaters. They're dressed up like really over the top. I don't know. I'm not exactly an expert of on bowling tournaments, but they're dressed like ice skaters. It's kind of like, at least in the North movie, the Cowboys rep thing is a little bit kind of like a stereotypical to make fun of it, to exaggerate things in the point of perspective of a child. But no, this is not. And Wade's still embarrassing. And during the whole moment, I asked, where's Knuckles? Knuckles kind of walk off. Nowhere to be seen. And then, of course, we get a father moment, Wade father moment, in which, honestly, that couldn't have been so bad. Until the mother comes back and saying that, but I care for you and all this stuff and all, but this guy, he abandoned you and all this stuff and all. And then I begin to smell suspicion. You kind of ruined it, all this stuff. And, oh my God, you telegraphed the whole thing about that. Oh yeah, he's going to be an asshole and all this stuff. And lo and behold, it was like that. He was a sellout. He abandoned his children. He sold the people, to the gun Boris and Natasha assholes, and because it's like the only Whipple that matters is me and all this stuff. Yeah, he become asshole dad and all this stuff and unfortunately, the mother didn't technically explain properly about that, but I can't blame the mother because that mother was an awful person also. I'm sorry for that. And it just you know what it wouldn't have mattered if I know that there's moments in which abandoning someone for your own, they say, oh, selfishness is bad or something like that. Sometimes you can write someone who kind of have some touchy moment with that. They say, for example, in One Piece. One Piece, we got the character of Usopp. He basically was abandoned by his father when he was a child, because the father, he feels like he feels like he was more fitting to be a pirate than a father. But at least that father gets some likability points, mostly because it is revealed that he's not exactly kind of like an asshole. He's just a father that admits that he's not fit to a father, and he just wants to be a pirate, and he just do what he wants. And he didn't leave kind of like an ill will to his child and his deceased wife, because even Usopp kind of begins to admire the father because he abandoned everything to be a pirate. He just wants to live his life, and even it is shown even flashback that despite everything, the father still have a little bit of a pride of having a son, So he's not exactly kind of like a bigger asshole. He just did what he wanted. which is the total opposite of this father who abandoned everything and he shows that he's an asshole. You can write, these kind of things, but the movie kind of didn't earn it, especially considering that Wade is still an asshole and the whole family are assholes. They especially proven that you got a sister, that they hate each other. So how the hell are we gonna relate to that or empathize with that? It's amazing how this is awful. And okay, and of course, the mother take the blame for not raising the children about him, in which she tries, but she made it poorly. Right? Does one is, and of course the FBI agent is like, you suck so hard and all this stuff, and then she unlikable thing. Okay, then it comes with it could have happened, it could have, the joke couldn't have been bad when they decide that, okay, if you don't show, because they want Wade to tell them where's Knuckles, instead of, going with Knuckles and other stuff. They tell Wade to say, okay, you don't tell where Knuckles is, your sister goes. And even Wade is like, no, I don't care. Okay, then your mother. No. Okay, this joke has better being executed, in Gintama. Although they never go that far. Also, yeah. Let's try, to bring some semblance of sympathy to the sister, who I remind you, yeah. Okay, and yeah, you missed a chance to shoot her. Then we reach Knuckles, who is chilling out in a room with gummy bears and product placement. Then apparently they tell Wade that he has to, drag Knuckles, and and the funny thing is that they put the microphone on Wade, so he could not tell Knuckles that this is a trap and all this stuff. But of course, that doesn't mean that Wade could tell Knuckles by saying that, help, my family's in danger, by writing on it. No, he doesn't do that. And then, of course, I expect that something will happen, and the episode ends with a cliffhanger, which reached to episode 6, which, of course, I expected something like that to happen because I knew that they're gonna make Knuckles that, oh, I knew it. So he battles the two fake agents, Boris and Natasha. We get referential music. And despite everything, Wade tries to save the family, but Wanda is like, I'm a hero and all this stuff. I can do anything. And she's like, but I was like, you did shit, and you stabbed your brother with a fork. Also, there's and also there comes kind of like an annoying moment in which the mother and the sister they're handcuffed into the chair. And the sister is like, no, I'm an FBI agent. I can get out by myself. Look, I can get out. There's no time to show off. Let your brother save you. God damn it. And well, then we got, that fight scene with Knuckles and the two lame agents. And of course, that Wade, the Wonder Woman, she's like, I can do it. I can dislocate my thumb and all this stuff. And Wade says like, okay, it's less. Saving you is less painful and quicker. That could have been one episode of this whole 6 series. She got that. And by the way, yeah. They during the battle, they use the rings that turns into portals, and of course, the Boris and Natasha guy, they suddenly go into another world. So the Knuckles arc is over. Now we've finished the Wade arc, and then of course we get a growth moment in which the sister Wanda character, the FBI, she just appears and she's like, hey, I did it, and she shows her dislocated thumb, and everyone is grossed out and all this stuff because she said that she could get out and all this stuff. And guess what? She returns into the other scenes, and apparently her thumb heals because we don't see her, with a cast or anything like that. And then we get to the tournament, and the ESPN guys. It was like they become aware that the father abandoned his children for the tournament, but the ESPN guy, is like they publicize it. They publicize it, even say it on TV, on the media, and the guy is like, "Hey, I heard this guy abandoned his children. As a father, I will say that's bullshit, but those those deals in TJ Maxx cannot be beat." What kind of world you gonna accept child abandonment just because you have a deal in TJ Maxx? What world? That's awful. That is awful. People don't forgive things that easily. It's like saying that it's almost. I know this is gonna sound outdated, but it's almost like saying that, hey, O.J. Simpson killed those people, but you know what? His Sunny Delight deals cannot be beaten, so yay! Even the FBI game says that. I wish my dad left me at TJ Maxx. You're kidding. You're kidding. I already put here that this reached Dodgeball level, but Dodgeball was a better movie. And then we got, of course, epic moments ruined by humor. This is where I also put Wade reaches Jar Jar Binks level. Father Starks are reacting, and we get, the tournament, in which everything goes into, the tournament. We even get an ass shot of Wade. We get referential music again. And this is where I also say, aren't there an age limit for these kind of tournaments? Because I kind of realized that, there's a little child in the tournament. Yeah, the little girl, that's what I meant. And of course, we're back with Knuckles again, because of course that they kind of forget that villain that we got in episode 1 and 5. The bearded guy, and he has kind of like this robot that it looks like it kind of has the properties of the villain of Iron Man 2, and this is the least we get from Knuckles, and then we get more of the tournament with the ESPN hosts that. God, these guys are kind of like the most mean-spirited people I have ever seen. And then we got, Wade have them, this awful monologue that he learned from a mother who's never stopped nagging, a sister fearless enough to stab him enough with a fork. That's what I'm saying, because the guy calls her, my mother stopped caring about me, but she was very nagging, and she cared about your sister who stabbed you with a fork and never apologized. And then I was like, wait, shut the frick up and bow. This was horrible monologuing executed. And then you think that here's also an awful thing. And this is how useless Knuckles is. Knuckles is battling, this monster. For some reason, they think that it's too important to watch, this bowling tournament. The father makes kind of like he fails a strike. He bowls on the first try, but he leaves one pin, in the open, so he had to do it in the second try. So Wade only had to make a strike, and of course that when he makes this the almost strike, one bowl, it was a little bit, how can I say, in the dangling, almost like it wants to fall, but it was like, no, it's not gonna fall. It's not gonna fall. Common knowledge will make you sense that, okay, maybe during the battle with Knuckles, Knuckles with the villain, he's gonna have kind of like a shockwave moment in which it makes the pin fall down. No, it doesn't happen. The pin falls in itself. No need for Knuckles. And just when Wade wins, this is when Knuckles finally comes out, with the battling with the villain. And then, oh yeah, I did put that the sister some heals fast here and there. There's heart and honor from from unlikable family, and then of course, Wade is the one that stands up because Knuckles gets his powers absorbed, and Wade stands up to the big monster. Wade steals Knuckles' show, and Knuckles begins to say that he wants to call this place kind of like a home, and you've barely been into this place called home, and there's heart and honor from an unlikable family, and Knuckles, if I met kind of like people like that, I will go away. This place is not a home. This is a part of annoyances that I just will be glad to go out. Okay, and of course the day is safe. The ESPN guys still assholes, and of course the father gets punched because lo and behold they don't let him get the how can I say the trophy, which and of course the you know what, considering that the bitchy woman is an FBI agent, I ask, isn't child abandonment considered a crime? So why not arrest him? Child abandonment is still a crime. It still needs to be arrested. He still needs to arrest him to atone for his crimes. And you're an FBI agent. I know that FBI, this is not technically the territory of FBI. This is mostly divorcing, but still, if you politicize it, this still should open a case. And of course, it ends with a freeze frame, and it ends, with another reference to music. And the final words that I put on this list is F you. F you. F you. That people should apologize to Sonic 2006. People should apologize to Rise of Lyric. Because this is insult. That is the worst Sonic property I have ever seen. And the people who defend it, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You're not Sonic fans. If you're a Sonic fan and you defend this, turn your badge. You don't deserve it. This was awful. I didn't want to make this vlog an angry vlog like that, but this is totally deserving for it. And I blame James Marsden to start out this thing. Okay, maybe not exactly James Marsden, but maybe the director. But I know he's an actor, but still he's kind of like the core of it. I warned you people. I warned you. This was gonna be, he was reaching Chris Thorndike level of annoyances, cringe stuff. And this is what we get. This is shameful. The best way I can describe this series is that it wants to be cartoonish, but it insults the intelligence of the people who watch it. You think that this is kind of like children's gonna like it. You don't know what you're doing. This is harmful for them. I think this is unhealthy for them. This is not good humor. This is just cringe. This is you just use Knuckles as a crutch for the Wade character, and not Wade and his horrible family. They're insulting. They're cringe. They're unlikable. This is kind of like the most painful thing I have ever seen. And if this is gonna be kind of like the thing that's gonna show up in Sonic 3, I lost my face. I lost my faith. This deserves kind of like a warrior call of shame. So, not much I have to say. I think I already tell you all about why I hate this thing. So, you know what? Trend is hashtag get rid of James Marsden. That's all.